Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome to Week in Nintendo. Every Saturday I like to go back through the past week's biggest headlines so you can get all caught up on all things Nintendo. If you're new here and you like these weekly news rundowns, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on everything happening with the channel. With all that out of the way, let's go through this week's Nintendo news. Monday, we got our first Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase, so it turns out those July 20th rumors were correct about the date, but what was shown was certainly far less than the full-size Directs we've been used to, let alone the previous Nintendo Direct Mini. Remember when a Nintendo Direct Mini was a bit of a bummer? Well, now we have a mini Nintendo Direct Mini. And yeah, Nintendo was definitely right to temper expectations beforehand because there really wasn't much news shown off here, only 8 minutes worth to be exact. And if anything, with the Partner Showcase subheading, it just seems like this was promotional obligations for announcements that would have been included in a June Direct had E3 2020 not been canceled. Another interesting detail here is that the Japanese version of the Mini Direct was 12 minutes long and had better pacing overall, and even featured games that are coming to the West but weren't featured in the North American version. So I'll leave a link to that down below if you'd like to see the differences for yourself. And with all that strangeness and disappointment out of the way, let's go over what was shown. Cadence of Hyrule, the Zelda-themed roguelike rhythm game that came to Switch in June of last year, will be getting a physical release, as well as character and melody pack DLC. The physical version, which includes all the new DLC on the cartridge, will be available October 23rd and will cost $39.99. Next up, we had Rogue Company, a third-person tactical shooter with an emphasis on gadgetry from Hi-Rez Studios. The starter Founders pack of the game is currently available on the Switch eShop for $14.99, but will make the move to free-to-play at some point in the future. Next, we had WWE 2K Battlegrounds, certainly a low point in the presentation for me. The over-the-top arcade-style brawler will come to Nintendo Switch, consoles, and PC on September 18th. Next, on a much higher note, we had the reveal of Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne HD Remaster, a remake of the 2003 PS2 classic that will be coming to the Nintendo Switch and PS4 in spring 2021. To close things out, we finally saw more on Shin Megami Tensei 5, the first new footage we've seen since its reveal in November of 2017. While we didn't learn much from the trailer other than a closer look at the main protagonist, the new footage looks good and we did get a release window of 2021. And that was it. Definitely a bit of a disappointing showcase, but we did learn that Nintendo plans to hold more Nintendo Direct partner showcases in the future. And who knows, maybe the news of the 3D Mario remasters could just show up as an unexpected tweet sometime before the holidays. We'll just have to wait and see. Tuesday, Nintendo announced that another bonus Splatfest would be coming to Splatoon 2 on August 21st. Following the return of the classic Ketchup vs. Mayo Splatfest we saw back in May, we'll be getting the return of the Chicken vs. Egg Splatfest, which was first held back in March of 2018, to help better answer the age-old question. Being a big fan of Splatoon and someone who will always fire up the game to participate in these limited time events, I'm happy to see Nintendo continue to support the game even after the Splatfest were supposed to come to an end. And just in case you were wondering, it's Egg. It's definitely Egg. Wednesday, a day ahead of the release, Digital Foundry gave us a tech analysis of the Switch port of Crysis Remastered, which still managed to hit its original July 23rd release date, while the other console versions were delayed to improve performance. While of course sacrifices had to be made to get the game running on the Switch, for the most part it still appears to be an impressive port, featuring a dynamic resolution that hovers around 720p both in portable and docked modes, while offering some visual improvements over the last gen ports and original PC release of the game. I'll leave a link to Digital Foundry's tech analysis in the description below if you'd like to take a look for yourself. Wednesday, we also got the reveal trailer for Carry On, a reverse horror game coming to all consoles from Phobia Game Studio and publisher Devolver Digital, where you play the monster. From the launch trailer, you might think the game is a sort of surveillance camera management game, the likes of something like Night Trap, but the actual gameplay looks far more fun and interesting. You play a monster escaping from a facility, and you need to eat the fleeing humans to grow and traverse through the levels. Carry On is now available from the Switch eShop for $19.99. Thursday, we heard from Phil Spencer that the long-standing rumors of Xbox Game Pass coming to other platforms may not be as likely as once thought. While speaking in a video interview with GameStar, Spencer walked back statements of having Game Pass on all platforms being a long-term goal of the service by saying, quote, "The other competitive platforms really aren't interested in having a full Xbox experience on their hardware. But for us, we want to be where gamers want to be, and that's the path we're on." So while it certainly seems like Nintendo Nintendo and Microsoft have gotten cozier with each other over the years, it appears that at least for now, Game Pass will remain exclusive to Microsoft platforms. Thursday, we also learned that Grid Autosport, one of the better racing titles on the Switch, would be getting online multiplayer and LABO steering wheel support in an upcoming update on July 30th. I enjoyed my time with Grid Autosport, and I really appreciated the effort the developers were putting into the game at the time, with its GameCube controller support that included analog trigger input for more accurate acceleration, and this somewhat unexpected update seems to continue that tradition. Friday, we got the Nintendo Switch announcement trailer for Balan Wonderworld, an imaginative and musical 3D platformer from the iconic duo of Naoto Oshima and Yuji Naka. In case you're unfamiliar, Oshima and Naka made a name for themselves as being key development figures for Sonic the Hedgehog and Nights into Dreams. We first saw Balan Wonderworld unveiled at the Xbox Game Showcase on Thursday, but the end of the trailer revealed the game would be coming to PS4, Steam, and Nintendo Switch as well. Being a bit of a Sega Saturn fanatic and a big fan of Nights into Dreams, this announcement was probably more exciting to me than most, as the game appears to be very reminiscent of Nights, both in its visual style and certain platforming elements. Balan Wonderworld is slated for release sometime in the spring of 2021. And that does it for this week's Nintendo news. Not the most exciting week, but there were still a few nice surprises, and hopefully Nintendo still has something up their sleeves for the remainder of 2020. And if you stuck around through all that and like what you saw, please consider liking and subscribing. And until next week, have a great weekend, play some video games, let me know what you're playing, and I'll see you next time.